1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How you guys doing? This is episode 122, and I'm calling this bad boy Disney Kombat. You know, like Mortal Kombat, but at fucking Disney, nigga. This is episode 122. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Woodley-Jake Paul 2 fight, the sequel. It was actually supposed to be Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, the younger brother of Tyson Fury, who I have said here many times is the greatest boxer alive right now. Well, I mean, it's between him and Canelo, I would say. Canelo's moving up to cruiserweight like a psychopath, and you better stop right there. If you're able to somehow win at cruiserweight, Canelo, what's your next step? Fucking Tyson Fury? Are you crazy? That nigga's 6'9". He's a monster. He's going to destroy Canelo. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. But this is episode 122, Disney Kombat. We're going to talk about the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley 2 fight. Unfortunately, how it ended. You know, I was saying, like, if Woodley does not win this fight, then I don't want to hear too much from Woodley. I'd be sick if Woodley lost this fight for a second time. All right, I'd be sick. But fortunately for Woodley, if you guys were listening last week, as you should have been, I was coughing all through that episode, right? Coughing pretty bad. And I've been basically sick. I was sick since last week. Like right now I'd say like 2 days ago is when I started feeling, or probably yesterday, is when I started feeling like the best. Like I was starting to feel like I could like do things again. Like before it was just like I'm super tired just doing normal things. Like I remember like I was doing laundry and I was just like I live on the 3rd floor and I don't trust that elevator in this building. And I talked to the maintenance guys once and they were like, man, people get stuck in that elevator all the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm never taking that elevator again. So I live on the 3rd floor, which is usually nothing. But I remember, like, I walked up one flight, last week, and I had to stop. I was like, holy fuck, I couldn't even catch my breath after one flight of stairs. I was like, dude, I was exhausted. And I was feeling that way, you know what I'm saying? My wife, Sarah, was sick, I'd say about 2-3 weeks ago. Same thing as me, like maybe you can hear it in my voice. It got real scratchy. She started losing her voice. And I was saying to her, baby girl, I love that raspy voice. I'm sorry you're sick, but I love that little raspy voice you got over there. And now she's feeling better. She's feeling a lot better. And then I got sick promptly after she started feeling better. And you guys know what she was saying to me the other day? Oh, I love that little raspy voice you got there. You know, it's just funny. It's reversed. She wasn't into it. And she's giving me these looks like, nigga, please. She's white. So, like, I'm just interpreting what I would think she would possibly be thinking. So she's giving me these looks like, nigga, please. And I'm just like, I love that raspy voice, baby girl. And she's just not into it. Then I went through the sickness, and it's like, oh, yo, relax. I'm trying to get back to real life here, okay? Relax. But, you know, hopefully this episode will have much less coughs than the last time. I'll have, like, a few coughing fits, or I've had, like, maybe, like, earlier today, I'd say today I've coughed a few times, but it's like, it's not like it was before. I couldn't really get through anything without having, like, just sporadic coughing attacks here and there. Like, I just was cold as fuck all week. Like, I'm wearing layers. I'm at work wearing a hat, hoodie, like 3 or 4 different layers of clothing. Wearing gloves. People were like, yo, bro, are you burning up right now? I'm like, nah, bro, I'm shivering. I'm fucking shivering. I can't. It's not like I'm sitting here trying to play some game with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't wear these layers if I didn't feel like I needed these layers. I'm fucking cold. I was like, if y'all niggas want to send me home, you know, but I'm management, so it's like, I understand that it's not so easy just to send me home, especially when I'm closing shit down. Like, it's not so easy. So I was like, yo, if they want to send me home, they can. Otherwise, I'm just keep working. I did not get tested for COVID. A lot of people were saying to me, they're like, oh, well, you didn't lose like a sense of taste or anything, a sense of smell, so maybe you didn't have it. But I heard lots of people who've had COVID never experienced those things. Those are just things that people can experience while having COVID. It's pretty common. But I fortunately didn't suffer any, like, loss in taste. So I don't think it was COVID. I was Googling, like, home tests, if I could find a home test in the area. And they were pretty much sold out everywhere. There would be, like, home tests for, like, $20 or so. Those are all sold out. The only ones that are available are like $200. And I was like, if I die, I die. You know what I'm saying? For that price, my nigga. For that price, if I die, I die. But I'm feeling a lot better these days. You know what I'm saying? It's been like, I've been sick for probably like 8-9 days. But like before, it was like, fuck. Like just laying in bed all day. Honestly, like, it's weird, man, how I feel right now. I feel right now that I was like before I felt like I was on the brink of death. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was the way how tired I was getting, and I was sleeping. When I tried to sleep, my lungs were making these. Every time I exhale, my lungs are making these crazy noises. I've never heard such a thing like that. My lungs, they were like screaming. It was like, I'm not even exaggerating. That's how it sounded. It'd be like just nonstop. Like I'm laying trying to sleep, and it'd be like in my lungs, nigga. And then the coughs would come. I couldn't even fucking sleep. I had to fucking like self-medicate. At least I know that like when I was in high school, you know, I always thought I had really bad allergies. And I think it was just like my nose, which is so stuffy. Now I got this nasal spray, as I tell you guys all the time. And it's really helped me. But I would take Benadryl back when I was a kid. But the only problem with the Benadryl is that I'd fall asleep in class. You know what I'm saying? They'd say take 2 Benadryl. I'd take that 2 Benadryl. But 10 minutes later, I'm fucking struggling to stay awake. Struggling. So as I had Benadryl here, and I was like, fuck, I can't. It was like I took some cough syrup, and I fell asleep for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then woke up again coughing my face off, just feeling like I'm going to hack up a lung, and it was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to get to sleep. And my wife was like, you want more cough syrup? And thinking like that shit only helped me out for like 30 minutes, and then I was right back awake. In my head, I was like, nah, I need that Benadryl. So I took 2 Benadryl, and in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, I was out for the night. Thank you, Benadryl. Even if it says, like, non-sleepy on there, I don't know what the fuck is in that Benadryl, but that shit knocks me the fuck out on most occasions. The other day, I took, like, 3. I think I was off from work. I took, like, 3, and then, like, I just, like, it, like, cleared up my symptoms. I was able to, like, whatever sickness I had, like, when I took 3 Benadryl, like, in the middle of the day, I was able to function properly. So I don't know what the fuck I was dealing with or what I'm dealing with right now, but Benadryl really, like, helped me survive, nigga. I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't able to just really move around. I just had to, like, basically just, like, lay in bed. I was just trying to sweat it out, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Once I felt... Like, because the first day that I felt like maybe I might be getting sick, I went in the sauna, worked out, sweated out, and then I felt like 1,000 times better. And then the next few days, it started to get like, the cough started to get worse, and I started getting tired. But other than that, it was nothing else. Like, I felt like the sickness was draining out of me. You know what I'm saying? It felt pretty good once I got in that sauna and just was able to sweat it out. But I would say right now I'm on the mend. I'm feeling a lot better. Felt like I was dying last week. I was at the point where, like, fuck, I don't even know if I can record. You know, I keep going through it when I'm sick. I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I could possibly record it. Like, when I was recording last week and I was coughing so much, it wasn't that bad. But then 2 days later, it was like, fuck, I can't do anything without coughing. I'm at work, and it's just like every 2 seconds, it's like coughing all over the place. It was just like I'd feel it start to brew up, and then it'd be like for the next 20, 30 minutes, I'm just like nonstop coughing. And I mean nonstop in a way where I'd cough, and I'd be like, all right, that's out. And then I'd be like, oh, hey, it's like a second, it'd be like it's gone. Like I coughed it out, and then boom, hits me with another coughing attack. It really sucked. Really, really sucked. But I feel I'm on the mend, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I survive, if that means anything, you know, if my life is worth anything. Hopefully I survive, you know. I'm feeling a lot better. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys are sending positive vibes, I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much for sending the positive vibes. But I'm feeling a lot better. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Episode 122. And I would really appreciate it if you guys would follow me on Instagram and Twitter or you follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Babylon5Pod. Follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. You could follow this podcast anywhere. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, do whatever you need to do to follow this podcast. Hit the like, favorite, do whatever you can to make sure that you guys are aware of every Monday that we are dropping this episode's favorite. Add this to playlist. Let's make it so that everybody can enjoy the Babylon 5 podcast. Do what you can on Spotify, Podbean, anywhere you guys are listening to this. Just favorite it. Do whatever you guys can to let people know that you love the Babylon 5 podcast. If you guys would like to follow me on Twitch, I haven't been gaming too much lately. Because I felt like I was dying, nigga. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't trying to play no video games. Like, I feel right now like I've never done anything. It's like, fuck, I haven't done... Like, it's like a lot of things where I'm like, dude, I haven't done anything. I feel like I'm newborn. I feel like I was dying before, bro. Like, it's crazy. I feel like this is a whole new lease on life. I'm not even joking. As you see, still coughing a bit. Not as bad as last week, but I felt like I was dying. You know, they got that new Omicron going on. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. And the noises my lungs were making as I was trying to sleep was the most alarming. I'd never known anything like that could happen. I was like, damn, is there a hole in my lungs or something? Because this is a weird noise. I'd never heard anything like that. But if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my Niji, be my patrons. Be my patron. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. I have not raised the tears. I was dying last week, ladies and gentlemen. I'll raise those tears when I feel like it, okay? I'll raise them fucking tears when I feel like it. So this week, I think laughter is the best thing part of recovery. You know, and if you guys got Paramount Plus, another fucking subscription channel. Paramount Plus, man, when are they gonna make a cable service You know what I'm saying? Where you get a deal with all these fucking subscriptions. Where I can just choose and watch any fucking thing with all these subscriptions for like $100 a month. Because it's like, fuck. At this point, got Paramount Plus, Disney. Nigga, I got ESPN, Hulu, Netflix. Oh, nigga, what the fuck? Damn near paying the full price for a cable program at this point. Damn near. You know what I'm saying? When they gonna come up with a bundle with just get all the streaming shit you need for this one price? Cause fuck. For the low price. I mean, I got the deal with Hulu, ESPN, and Disney. Yeah, Disney, ESPN, and Hulu. I got that deal. That was kind of nice to save a little bit with that, but you know, it's just like there's so many goddamn services. They're popping up every day. They're like, oh, you guys love watching The Office on Netflix? Okay, well then we're going to take it off Netflix and you have to pay for this service over here if you want to watch fucking The Office. Like, why? Why, nigga? I already been watching the show over here. You already know we love it. So you got to capitalize on us. Pardon me there. Gonna fucking capitalize on our love for fucking The Office, for Dwight, for Kevin, for McClevin. What is it, Clevin? Whatever the shit that he used to balance the books, that fake shit. I'm not a fan, but those streaming services, there's Paramount Plus, and they have probably what I think is the smartest cartoon like out right now is South Park. I'd say before that was probably the Boondocks. The smartest cartoon right now I would say is South Park. They just had the part 2 of the post-COVID special. And it's real funny because like I got some friends and we've been talking about starting a NFT investment group. We're talking about setting up this NFT investment group. And we were planning to have a video conference on Thursday. Just so happened there was a new episode of South Park that I'm talking about now, post-COVID part 2, that came out on Thursday. And I had already, like, literally, it was coincidentally, I had, like, put it on. Me and my wife are fans of South Park. I think she wasn't too much before we started dating, but I'm, like, a huge South Park fan. So, like, we watch it now. Or I think she likes it. I'm pretty sure she likes it. She says she's into it, but you know, I was just gonna watch it regardless. I feel like it's so smart. Like, I feel like if you think South Park is what it used to be with all the shit jokes and just bullshit. I didn't like South Park when it first came out. I thought it was gross. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like the jokes and the animation, Mr. Hanky and all that nonsense. I thought it was gross, bro. I'm not into that shit. But right now what South Park is the smartest cartoon you guys can possibly watch. The most socially conscious cartoon you guys could possibly watch. And they have it where, you know, in South Park they're 9-year-old kids. And in the post-COVID special, they fast forward to the end of COVID, which is 40 years in the future. And yeah, they're all 49 years old. And there's a lot to go into, but what's most importantly here is me and my friends were supposed to meet up and have a video conference about this NFT investment group, right? But we had never set a time. I put on this South Park episode, and we're like maybe 5 minutes in, and my boy who we're in one of the people we're in the group with, he messaged us and he's like, yo, I'll be in here at this point. If you guys want to join, let's talk. And I didn't respond because I was about to jump in, but then I was like, I had already been drinking that night. You know what I'm saying? It was on Thursday. I was starting to feel a little better. And I was like, I'm having trouble sleeping. So I'm going to drink a couple brews and drink this Benadryl, so I ain't have no interruptions in my sleep. And it worked like a charm. So I was already like a little intoxicated at that point. And then So I was like, I'll hit him up when this episode's done. I didn't know how long it was, but I was like, I'll just hit him up when it's done and see where they're at. But I was too intoxicated to jump in that call at the point. But I didn't jump in the call for my NFT investment group. And then South Park just so happened to be the running joke of this new episode that came out on Thursday was that Butters at 49 years old became rich because he convinced people to start NFT investment group. That was the whole thing, was that he tricked people into starting NFT investment groups. And it's like, you bring them in and then you fuck them with NFTs. Like, all this shit just had me geeked out, and I'm just like, what are the chances that this is what the episode is about on the day I'm supposed to meet up with people online to fucking set up our NFT investment group? I thought that was fucking just crazy timing. That's why this is the smartest show. You guys can, like, feel how you feel about what it used to be. But right now, there's no denying that this show is just, it's just too smart, man. It's so smart. And I thought that was really cool, but I mean, I don't know. They broke it down to the point where, like, Butters is like, he's got the fucking things. He's like, this is us, and we got the people, we start our investment group, and then you got the people over here, and you sell it to them, and you get them to buy into NFTs. And it's like, he kept, the way I was like, oh shit, it's a pyramid scheme. It's mid-level marketing. It's all the same shit that we've been trying to, like, when people message me, you know what I'm saying, throughout the years to get in their mid-level marketing, I'm like, I feel so offended. I usually feel so offended. I'm like, dude, I thought we were friends. And you just came at me with this you trying to get me to get in on your bullshit right here? Me? You trying to scam me? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel when these people get at me with this fucking, these pyramid schemes, this mid-level marketing. Like, you really came to me for this. You thought you could get over on me. But even with that, I'm still very interested in this NFT investment group. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm still going to invest. Because even at the end of, I was like, even as I was watching, I was like, yeah, I'm still going to do it. And then at the end of it, they were like, someone was like saying like NFTs is more like art and blah, blah, blah. And the person was like, well, I guess NFTs are okay. And he was like, yeah, y'all realize, like, y'all shitting on it because y'all see that it's a pyramid scheme. And for a lot of people, they're going to get fucked over. And it's mainly the people, see, that's the whole point of the investment group. We follow all kinds of shit. And we're just trying to get in on some NFTs, a nice release, before it goes public. And then if we get the rarities of whatever these art pieces are, then we can sell that for however much, man. This shit's like a weird random price. I don't know how this shit's priced out, but yeah, man, this shit's that. My wife was looking at it like, yo, that one's worth like $10,000, like over in one day. I'm like, yeah, man, it's wild. So we're trying to be at the top of that pyramid. And whatever happens, like as Butters was saying, but we don't care about the rest of them because this is us. This is us at the top. It's a phenomenon. If you guys are curious, like, understand you can get Paramount Plus. You can get a trial, 30-day trial. I would say I would check it out just for these South Park episodes. They're fucking phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? It's the smartest show around. Smartest show around, in my opinion. And I was very happy to see that shit. But I was like, that's crazy timing. That they're shitting on investment groups. NFT investment groups. As I'm setting up an NFT investment group. But, like, you know, I remember niggas telling me about how they had Bitcoin and all that shit like 10, 11 years ago. And I'd be like, nigga, don't do that. Don't put no money in no goddamn Bitcoin. That ain't real. I said that to niggas. Niggas told, because I remember this one nigga Tommy, he was telling me he was buying ecstasy offline with Bitcoin. I was like, you got Bitcoin, bro? Don't do that. And he's like, no, it's the best way to do it. Buy shit online, yada, yada, yada. I understand, like, if you get into that bullshit, that's the best way to be untraceable. But just the whole mention of Bitcoin in those days, back when it was, like, new, you know what I'm saying? It was like, bro, don't do that. Don't waste your time with some shit like that. That was the vibe. That's what everybody was like, bro, he's stupid. He out here talking about Bitcoin. I remember that day this nigga Tommy was telling me he buys ecstasy offline. He went on his phone and was like, oh, Bitcoin went up in value. I have more money. And I was like, what is he talking about? Bitcoin went up in value. I have more money. I was like, bro, none of that makes any sense what you're saying to me. Because you know what I'm saying? You put the money in, say whatever at the time. It's like you put $25 in. If he's telling me like Bitcoin went up and I have more than $25, it didn't make any sense to me. At the time, I was very unaware of how all that shit, cryptocurrencies and all that shit. I'm like, bro, don't put your money in that, is how I felt. But, you know, I don't know what happened to that kid, Tommy. Maybe he's a fucking millionaire right now. Maybe he's a fucking millionaire right now. That's probably what happened. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this episode is called Disney Kombat. Yeah, we're here. We're at that point of the episode. We're going to talk about Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul 2. It was announced... Well, let's back up. Dylan Dennis claimed that there was a clause in the contract between Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul in the first fight that said that Tyron Woodley was not allowed to knock Jake Paul out, which Jake Paul said was a lie. So when Tommy Fury dropped out of this fight and they added in Tyron Woodley in a rematch with Jake Paul, short notice, I think on 2-week notice, Jake Paul added in the clause that Tyron Woodley gets an extra $500,000 if he can knock out Jake Paul. He already lost the first fight. He got beat up in the first fight, in my personal opinion. I feel like Jake Paul... Sorry. I feel like Jake Paul did a lot better boxing-wise. So the second fight, I'm watching it, and it's a lot of hugging, a lot of clinch work. I felt like the first fight was a lot more technical and way less hugging. It was worse. This fight was less entertaining than the first fight, I would say. First fight, I feel like Jake was just piecing him up for the first 4 rounds. Woodley just wouldn't throw anything. And then finally he was able to throw, and it was starting to get a little more exciting in the later rounds, but Jake Paul clearly walked away with that victory. Woodley, for whatever reason, was claiming he won that fight and was calling for a rematch, and he finally got it here. The fight, they were fucking holding each other the whole time, just punching each other in the clinch. Jake Paul got cut by an accidental elbow from Woodley, so he's cut, he's bleeding. Woodley at one point, they like clinch up because there's a lot of hugging, and Woodley just fucking flips this man over, throws him to the ground. And I'm like, all right, that's going to be the highlight of the fight. That's what I thought. 6th round comes. Fucking Jake Paul, he attacks the body, right? Well, first he goes up with a combination. He attempted the right hand. He went to the body, attempted the right hand. Then he feinted to the body and saw that Woodley would drop that hand. He dropped his hand when he feinted to the body. So Jake Paul, like somebody he looks like he knows what he's doing out here. He's dedicating himself to the sport. He feints to the body with the right and comes up and catches Woodley, drops that hand, and he comes up and catches Woodley clean, knocks Tyron Woodley out cold. Knocks former welterweight champion out cold. I say the best thing for Kamaru is that he switched gyms and changed up his style, because it's like him beating Woodley for the belt at this point looks worse and worse by the day. It's like you beat Woodley, but Woodley hasn't won a fight since that, when he lost to this Disney kid twice since that fight. That victory looks less and less good. That domination looks less and less dominant, because Woodley just doesn't seem like he's there to fight anymore. It's like he doesn't know he's not there to fight. He keeps signing up for these fights, and then he gets in there and he doesn't want to fight. And then after the fight, he's like, I can still go. And it's like, bro, you look like you don't want to fight in there. It looks like you don't want to fight. But Woodley gets knocked out. Woodley gets put to fucking sleep. Falls flat on his face. Just face flat on the mat. Knocked out. It was crazy, man. Jake Paul said before this fight he was going to fuck Woodley up. And sure enough, he fucked Woodley up. I don't really know where Woodley goes after this. I would say just stop with the fucking fights, bro. You're 39. Just got knocked out by a Disney kid. What more do you want to happen to you? Because I don't see too many, like, ride off in the sunset moments for Woodley at this point. What happens for Woodley where you're like, oh shit, I didn't know Woodley had that in him? What opportunity? Fucking bare knuckle? If you saw Woodley go to bare knuckle and win a fight, would you be like, yeah, man, he redeemed himself? You'd be like, nah, man. He lowered himself and went down to that fucking bullshit ass bare knuckle. He went down to bare knuckle against people who are just brawling, man. They have no real. It seems like there's no real skill. Like Paige Van Zandt went there, fought Britain Hart, and it was like she was trying to use her skill, but Britain was coming at her like with these nasty brawls and just trying to make it dirty, and she won that fight because it doesn't seem to be too much skill. It's just like throwing hands, and whoever comes out on top comes out on top. So I don't know where Woodley goes from here. I would be cool with just like him not fighting. He doesn't need to necessarily rap anymore. Just kind of fade out. Just kind of fade to the back. He's fucking, I don't know, man. I said the cringiest moment of this whole fucking Woodley Paul 2 thing was that Jake Paul gave Woodley a Rolex as a gift, right? Well, first he gives Woodley the gift wrapped with a bow. Woodley's like, what is this? I don't trust this. He's like, I'll open it later. And then Ariel and Jake are like, nah, man, open it right now. Just like, open it right now on camera. So he takes off the wrapping paper a little bit, looks at the box, and Woodley goes, I accept this gift. Immediately. Goes, I accept this gift. And then he takes the box out of the wrapping paper, opens it up, and it's a Rolex watch. Woodley, I don't know, man. That seems so lame to me. He's like, I accept. You're going to give me a Rolex? I accept. Like, I was like, nigga, you sound fucking crazy right now, man. That shit sounded so fucking weird to me. Like, he was like, oh, I ain't opening this shit. I don't trust this. Then he looked at it, saw it was a Rolex. He was like, oh, I accept. I accept immediately. Like, that was the cringiest moment for me. Even more than Woodley getting knocked out cold was how much he was just like, oh, I'll take this watch. Oh, yeah, I accept. Nigga, chill out. So hopefully Woodley fucking fades out. Jake Paul is talking about possibly training for 2 years and then going into MMA. I'd love to see it, man. All the power to him. He's dedicated himself to this boxing. He looks pretty good. And if he dedicates himself to MMA and actually fucking competes, more power to you, champ. More power to you, champ. All right? That'd be pretty cool. We just had UFC Vegas 46, man. as I said on Saturday, I posted my card. I said I went against a few of my heart picks, you know, and I was hoping they proved me wrong. Like, I didn't want to fucking pick against Angela Hill. You guys know I love Angela Hill, but Angela Hill usually loses by controversial split decision, and ladies and gentlemen, Angela Hill lost by controversial split decision. Yes, she got a front kick to the face a la Anderson Silva, Vitor Belfort, you know. She got a front kick and it really fucked her up and she got dropped. But then after that, I'd say it was all Angela. Not necessarily like all Angela, but I'd say she was winning the fight from there on out. I couldn't necessarily give her the first round, or maybe you could, but I gave her the second and the third, but she still lost by controversial split decision again. It's just unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what she has to do to take the judges out of it. I mean, finish the fight, if you will, but that's what just keeps happening. She will face some controversy, and then it seems like the judges are just against her at that point. Even if she's fighting back, getting takedowns, landing great shots, some judges just don't see it that way, man. And she's saying, like, fuck the judges, but I think it's just like Jorge Masvidal was saying, maybe you got to take the judges out of it. Speaking of Jorge Masvidal, just to back up a little bit, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz were at the Tyron Woodley boxing match versus Jake Paul. And apparently they both walked out during the fight. And Jake Paul, he challenges everybody in the UFC. He said he wants to fight Kamaru, Conor McGregor. But he says in the post-fight, he says Masvidal and Diaz are bitches for walking out. And if they want to be next, he'll fight both of them and embarrass them both. Then Jorge Masvidal comes out with a video saying, like, first off, I only fight to fight the best in the world and to make money. And sorry to hurt your feelings, but you're not the best in the world and you don't make me any money. Yeah, he does. He's the money fight. You're telling me Woodley didn't get the most money he's ever made from one fight? He made $1 million to fight Jake Paul. You're not making $1 million to fight in the UFC. You're maybe making, at this point, after like 13 years in the UFC, you're making like $200,000 a fight, maybe. And you're talking about Jake Paul isn't the money fight. He doesn't make you money. He make you more money than you've ever seen at one time. He would literally make you more money than you'd ever see at one time, than you'd ever seen at one time. Yet you're claiming he's not. Jorge even said he won't fight. All right, Jorge comes from, if you guys don't remember, fighting in Kimbo Slice's backyard, boxing in Kimbo Slice's backyard. Jake Paul challenges Jorge Masvidal to box. Jorge says, no, none of that. Let's not do any of that boxing shit. Let's meet in the octagon where he can slam him on his spine and paralyze him so that he never walks again. That shit right there is not cool. I try to tell y'all, Jorge Masvidal is trash. And that video he posted right there in response to Jake Paul tells me Jorge Masvidal is absolutely scared to fight Jake Paul in a boxing match. He came from Kimbo Slice's backyard, but now he is terrified of Jake Paul. Jorge Masvidal is terrified of Jake Paul. That's just it. There's nothing else I got from that video with the red light saying, nope, let me slam you on your spine where I can paralyze you. Why don't you box him? Is that not where you came from? How come every time you fight, they show video of you being fucking a young kid boxing in Kimbo Slice's backyard, but you're like, let's forget all this boxing stuff. When the boxer challenges you to box, when the Disney kid challenges you to Disney Combat, it's all Disney Combat. ESPN is owned by Disney. All the UFC fights are on Disney. Jake Paul comes from Disney. This is Disney Combat. When the Disney kid challenges you to Disney Combat, you're like, no, I don't do that. Meet me in the octagon. You know that's not going to happen. Because Jorge Masvidal is scared of Jake Paul. That's just it. That's it. All right? Now, getting back to UFC Vegas 46, what I said was the people's main event last week was Stephen Thompson versus Bilal Mohammed, and I said I thought it would be a lot like when Stephen Thompson fought Jeff Neal, but actually it was a lot like when Bilal Mohammed fought Stephen Thompson. He dominated Stephen Thompson. There was even a 30-25. I did not see this coming at all. I mean, in the stand-up in the first round, Thompson was able to, he's got those fast high kicks. He was doing what he could to try to keep him off him, but in the small octagon, Bilal, he was on him. They touched the hands, and then Bilal was just on him, in his face, taking him down. I think he took Stephen Thompson down over 5 times in that fight. He dominated Stephen Thompson. Unfortunately for Stephen Thompson, fortunately for Bilal, he's calling out either Kamaru Usman or Leon Edwards. He had the fight with Leon Edwards, and Leon Edwards poked him in the eye, and they had to cancel the fight. Now he's calling for a rematch with Leon or a title fight, man. I'm not against seeing either. Bilal dominated Stephen Thompson, and at this point, I think it might be time for Thompson to retire. What happens for Thompson? He didn't win that fight, and he needed to win that fight in order to kind of try to put himself back into contendership for a fight with Kamaru, and he just lost to Bilal at 39 years old. So I don't know how much more action Kamaru Usman has, for this sport, man. It's unfortunate to see, but it might be the end of the road for Stephen Thompson if we're talking about his aspirations to be UFC champion. I honestly don't see it happening after he just got dominated by Bilal Muhammad. Don't see it happening. What's the path? What's the path back to a champion? You just got dominated by Gilbert Burns. Then you got dominated by Bilal Muhammad. I don't see a path back to the championship. I see coaching, just being a great coach, being in the future for my boy. Unfortunately. What's up, Ryan? Text my nigga Ryan Porter. Shout out to Ryan Porter, but I be hitting my boy up. And he won't text me back for 8 hours, this nigga. He won't text me back for 8 hours. That's why I, when he used to live at his parents' house on Burleigh, and I lived on Burleigh, I show up at this nigga house 9 o'clock in the morning, knocking on the window. Hey, nigga, it's time to hang out. That's the type of nigga that I am. He just texts me 8 hours later after I text him. But that's why I used to just show up, because this nigga, he don't be on my schedule. He be on his own schedule. I show up at this nigga house 9, 8 o'clock in the morning, knocking on that window. His room was in the basement. If it was open, I'm like, hey, bro, wake up. It's time to get up. Which, as I've said to my wife, sometimes I'm not even bullshitting. When I'm sleeping, I'll hear my grandma, I'll hear my big mama say, these kids ain't about to sleep all goddamn day. I remember her saying that when I was a little boy. And that shit pops in my head if I'm sleeping late sometimes. I'll hear my grandma's voice say, these kids ain't gonna sleep in this house all goddamn day. I hear it. So that's part of the reason why I be waking niggas. I used to show up at niggas' house early. You're not about to sleep all goddamn day, bro. We got shit to do. We about to do some things. It's honestly how I felt. So shout out to Ryan for hitting me up just now. I text him back in a little bit, but I was like, man, this nigga don't never text me back. Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to get over this shit. What's in my cup? It's that Jamie Foxx shit. Blame it on alcohol. In my Sagittarius mug. I'm a Sagittarius, I guess. Whatever that means. Next UFC card is unfortunately... Well, before I get to that, actually, I'm going to look at this card. Let's see who I give some shout-outs to. The card's gone for whatever. I think because there's no fights, as I'm saying right now, there's not another UFC card until January 15, which is fucking terrible for me. The fuck? I mean, I guess I can work on my albums. I got projects coming. So yeah, the next card isn't until January 15, where we got Giga Chikadze fighting Calvin Kattar. But as I was saying last night, we just had headlined by Chris Dawkins got finished by Derek Lewis. Yo, did I not even take notes? I didn't even take notes on that fight. As I was saying to you guys, I was hoping Chris Dawkins won the fight because that's the way I see the division actually moving forward. Chris Dawkins got knocked out in the first round, unfortunately. I want to give a shout out to Ricky Simone, man. Ricky Simone his wrestling's phenomenal. He always looks like a problem out there, but his wrestling, his striking has improved so much. He dominated Rafael Assunção, knocks him out in the second round, calls out Sean O'Malley. I think he would be a fucking problem for Sean O'Malley with his grappling. I think he's a problem for everybody at bantamweight. So shout out to Ricky Simone. That was a great fight. Mateusz Gamrot finishes Diego Ferreira. And I said to you niggas, Diego Ferreira was one of them niggas, maybe 2 years ago, I was saying he was on the come up. He got hit with a knee to the ribs and quit. Told the ref, hey, I'm done. I've not seen too much like that. But this Mateusz Gamrot guy, he's apparently undefeated when he has a full camp in the UFC. Guess he had one short notice fight and lost. But when he is a full camp, he's dominant. And honestly, before that knee happened, it was like a back and forth fight. And I felt like even the commentary was like, Gamrot's getting tired. He's getting a little labored. He's not as active. But he was able to take Diego down, knee him in the ribs, and get the quit. He got the quit. So he got TKO. Shout out to Gamrot, Mateusz Gamrot. It's a lot of good fights I saw. Just watched them today because I was at work all day yesterday. But yeah, as I'm saying, there's no fights for the UFC until January 15 when Giga Chikadze takes on Calvin Kattar. And I think Giga will potentially retire Calvin Kattar. Kattar took a fucking ungodly beating against Max Holloway, all right? Ungodly beating against Max Holloway. To the point where, it was a year. He hasn't fought in a year. And it was 6 months after that, and he was still having concussion symptoms from that fight. Max Holloway broke records with how many strikes he landed on Calvin Kattar. I was screaming in the third round, please stop the fight. And it went all the way through to the fifth round. He took a fucking ungodly beating. And I think Giga is not the person that he wants to rebound in a fight with. I don't think so. And the odds are saying that Giga is a minus 210 favorite. And he should be. He's about to whoop that ass. He's about to whoop that ass. We also got Muslim Salikov versus Michelle Pereira. Lima? Who the fuck is that? Where did that Lima come from? They put a Lima on there. I don't know what the fuck that means. It's only fights that they have on this card. Maybe they don't have the full card, shelled out. But that's the next card. And I'll talk about it again in about 3 weeks when we're a week away from the fight. Unfortunately, as you know what I'm saying, we won't have fights again until January 15th, unfortunately. But in the meantime, we can talk about some rumors. There's rumors. Colby has been calling out Kombat, saying he wants that fight. He wants to fight Boris. And the rumors are that Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev is in the works for UFC 272. And I don't want this fight to happen. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of both Colby Covington and Khamzat Chimaev. Those are probably two of my favorite active fighters right now. Colby Covington. If you guys watch the videos that I've been posting on Instagram, I'm wearing my Kobe Covington shirt. I love Kobe. If you guys know my Boars hoodie that I made, I love Khamzat Chimaev. I don't want this fight to happen. But if it does happen, ladies and gentlemen, fuck. I think Khamzat would dominate. I don't see too many people really giving Khamzat problems, especially the video. I watched the video the Weasel put out, and it was Khamzat's toughest fight. And fuck, dude, there's people with much heavier punches than I've ever seen Kobe deliver, and Khamzat just walks through it like nothing happened. Like, he'll take those shots, no defense to the face, and just keep walking. He walks through it. Comes to take you down. He's got great striking. Phenomenal wrestling. That fucking Russian, Dagestani, Chechen wrestling. He's fucking amazing. Alright? I think, unfortunately, that Khamzat Chimaev would dominate Kobe Covington. Most likely finish him in the first round, as he does most people. I would like for this fight not to happen, and I honestly would not like for Kobe to beat Boris. I mean, if he beats Boris, then, the hype's over, if you will. But I like this hype train. It's fun. It's fun when these hype trains come around. The Sean O'Malley's, the Khamzat Chimaevs, the whoever. When Macy Barber was on her run. I love when these hype trains come. I love to see it. Michelle Pereira. I love these hype trains. Johnny Walker. It sucks when these hype trains fucking lose because it's hype. It's fucking hype. It's interesting. You know what I'm saying? So, I would hate it if Boris loses here, and I honestly don't think he will. So, if they book that fight between two of my favorite fighters right now in the UFC, because I really love the welterweight division. I think those are some of the best fighters. I think it's like welterweight, lightweight, 185, and so we can go on from there, but we'll talk about that next week, possibly. I'm going to do like who's going to have a good 2022 as opposed to who I felt like had a great 2021. We can talk about that. Potentially, there's been talks of Nate Diaz versus Dustin Poirier. Potentially at UFC 271 now. The way Nate is talking, he just wants to seem like he wants to fight anybody at UFC 271, no matter who it is, and then just be done with his UFC contract. Is what it seems like is happening with Nate. The way he's talking in the media, he's gotten a fight with AJ McKee, the 145 champion, I believe, 145-pound champion at Bellator. He just got into a scuffle with AJ McKee at the Woodley Paul fucking press conference. But he seems like he wants to fight Poirier. He's talking about fighting next month, even though he just saw Poirier lose. He's trying to pressure Poirier into fighting in January. But apparently UFC said no. They won't do that fight in January, but they would do it in February. And Nate was like, oh, they don't want to pay for you. I want to fight in January. So it seems like he's just like, whatever, I want to fight in January. He's calling out these people saying he wants to fight. But when push comes to shove, this nigga seems, I don't know, it's real weird with Nate, man. It's so weird every time this nigga's going to fight. I never really know if the fight's actually going to happen because he does weird shit like this all the time. So he's been talking about fighting Jake Paul, but then he left the fight. When he was at the fight, he was saying, like, I don't care who wins this fight, blah, blah. Like, he was like, I don't know, man. It's so weird with Nate. We don't know what happens. But if he fights Poirier, cool. And I think Poirier wins that fight, honestly. At 170, I think Poirier wins that fight. I'm looking at my list. I went down and looked at my episode from a year ago. Maybe, a year ago. Maybe a week early a year ago. And I was looking at people I projected to have a big 2021. Who did I project? Predicted Kevin Holland would have a big 2021. If by big 2021, I mean loss. Kevin Holland had a big 2021. I mean, they did all that promo for him because he was on the rise. He was doing a lot of shit. Then they had all the promo for him, and then he was like beaten by Brunson, beaten by, who was he? By Vittori. He's having these bad fights. The fight with Kyle Dawkins, where I didn't like that fight for him anyway. And then it was like, what was it? Like he got flash knockout when they headbutted. And then he lost, and then they repealed it and took it away. It was like he didn't have as great of a 2021 as I predicted. It was like, damn, this is a curse. I put Marvin Vettori on there as going to have a big 2021, which I say he beat Kevin Holland. He had a decent 2021. Went on to lose the championship as I expected. Or lose the championship fight to Israel Adesanya as expected, but I don't know. I say he had mediocre 2021. I picked Khamzat Chimaev to have a big 2021. He only had one fight. He had COVID, and it really fucked up things, but he dominated Li Jingliang. So he had a decent fight. I said Conor McGregor was going to have a great 2021. I think they had already announced that he was going to fight Dustin Poirier for the second time when I put him on that list, and I thought he was going to walk through Poirier. Lost the first fight legit. Third fight, he fucking breaks his ankle or whatever and loses that fight. So he definitely did not have a good 2021. I said Ryan Spann. I think he had a 50-50 year. Got Grant Dawson, Drew Dober, Angela Hill, them fucking split decision losses. Mackenzie Dern, Aljamain Sterling. I predicted last year that Aljamain Sterling would be the champion. And he is the champion. So maybe I was right by that. No matter what happened for Aljamain Sterling to become the champion, I predicted that Aljamain would be champion. And he is the champion. Alex Caceres. I think I was right about that. I said Alex Caceres would have a big year. He had a great year. Paul Craig, he had a decent year. I think he maybe had one or two fights that he won this year. So shout out to Paul Craig. I know he beat Jamal Hill via submission. Shout out to Paul Craig. Michelle Pereira Lima. Where the fuck that Lima came from? Michelle Pereira. He beat Chaos Williams in a pretty good fight. I think he had a real good year, actually. So it's right on there. I said Colby Covington. I think he beat Tyron Woodley and lost to Kamaru Usman. 50-50. I put Jermaine Durandamy. I don't think she fought at all this year. Jimmy Crute had a so-so year. Now I put Miguel Bazea, who lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and then didn't he just recently lost? I think he just lost another fight. I'm not sure who he lost to. I don't know how to spell Miguel. There we go. I'm like, yo, this ain't how you spell Miguel. Miguel Carmel Thunder Baeza. Carmel Thunder. Yeah, he just lost to Chaos Williams. He lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and then he lost to Chaos Williams. Knocked out in the third round. So, I was wrong. Baeza did not have a great 2021. All he did was lose in 2021. But in my defense, all he did was win in 2020. He beat Matt Brown and Takashi Saito in 2020. He had a canceled fight with Mickey Gall. I think he would have dominated Mickey Gall. But unfortunately, he got bumped up and fought Santiago Ponzinibbio, which I think is just a bad fight for him. I thought it was a bad fight when they announced it. Lost that fight. Ponzinibbio just lost to Jeff Neal in a great fight. But yeah, I said Baeza would have a good year. He did not. I was wrong. I'm here to talk about that. Next week, hopefully I'll talk about people I think will have a big 22 and people that I believe had a big 2021 that I will really be following. So you guys will get that next week. And you guys can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast everywhere. Listen to wherever you guys listen to this and hit that favorite button. Add this shit to a playlist. Do whatever you can to let everybody know you love the Babylon 5 podcast. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my niche, be my patrons. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. Be my patron. Thank you guys so much for being here for episode 122. I try to keep these episodes about an hour long. Let me know. I don't know who'd be listening to this, man. If you people talk to me, that's what I'm telling you guys to join the Patreon. You're like, nigga, I want 2 hours. I want 2 hours of germ. I don't know. I'll make it longer. But I try to keep it standard an hour. I feel like that's okay for you guys. It's okay for everybody. Nice little hour in your day. But thank you guys so much for being here. It's episode 122. Disney Kombat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Unfortunately, the chosen one, Tyron Woodley, was made into the frozen one, literally knocked out cold on the mat against Jake Paul. Thank you guys so much for being here. As I said, I hope you guys will take care of yourselves and each other. There's some sickness going out there. Wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican.